Hey guys, and welcome to the glorious battlefield. I'm a Rubber Duck of War, and today I'm going to be showcasing a game actually featuring myself as the mighty Wood Elves with an Elvish ally. So this is a 2v2 showdown. It is Wood Elves and High Elves versus those pesky and edgy Dark Elves who have aligned themselves with the traitors to all that is good in the world, the Empire. This is a game between myself and my ally. I believe his name was Skem8. I've never met him before. He just hopped in the lobby with us, which was pretty cool. We're up against Omega Drive as well as the mighty Geese Howard, two awesome players. They've been around for a very long time, so it's pretty good fun to hop in and play some 2v2s. We just played a game, me and Skem together up against these guys. It was an interesting game. I may also cast that one. It was a little bit more one-sided, but had some really fun units. I believe there was a Lord Croak in there. There was Nakai the Wanderer wandering around. There was Arcs of Sotek, all that glorious goodness. But today we're going to be going for a bit more of a standard approach to battle, and that is bows everywhere. And it's a really fun composition we have here. So I'm going to pop this into slow motion and go through the builds. As for my ally, he has a load of Ellyrium Reaver archers, including the Heralds of the Wind on the left-hand side, and a decent amount of cavalry contingent. He's really holding it down with the mass to try and protect our archers where physically possible. It's a mixture of Silver Helms and Dragon Princes led by a prince. Not something you see terribly often. Looks pretty cool though, riding dirty into battle on his mighty warhorse. He also has a major fire coming in with piercing bolts of burning, the burning head, as well as fireball. So pretty awesome stuff. For his basic battle line, he has a mixture of spearmen and Lothran Seaguard, as well as one unit of elite Sisters of Avalon. For myself, I have Dryads in the front line. We're really the meat and potatoes of this build, are the Dryads and Eternal Guard, looking to hopefully hold down at the central portion of the battlefield, and a couple of light units of just Glade Riders. They're not going to be winning any awards today, not taking down too many enemy generals or cavalry. They can pin the enemy in place and allow my damage dealers to do the work, which is of course the Glade Guard. We have a bucket ton of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. I believe 3 of which are the fire staffs as well. Yeah, they're Starfire Shafts, which can do some really lovely work. We also have the Loex Tricksters, because they are quite simply one of the most beautiful units in the entire game as they dance their song of death into enemy battle lines. We have our Orion leading the charge and a Spellsinger of Beasts with a Manticore Summon and the rather glorious and certainly overlooked curse here. The negative 24 melee attack, speed and defense is quite something. As for our opponents, we have some Dread Spears in the front line who are getting roasted by Reavers at the moment. Dread Spears going really aggressive on the right-hand side. You can see our opponents have kind of deployed in 2 separate armies, where we've gone for the synergy of one good old force, which I think tends to be the better way to go. But it's hard to say. Depends on the players and the situation. Load of Cold War Knights, big cavalry force here by the Dark Elves, including the Knights of the Ebon Claw, Malice the Mean Blade himself, love to see him in action, and a Sorceress of Fire. We have Spearmen and Empire Knights making up the majority of the battle line for the Empire, but we have some skirmish cav on the left-hand side. Outriders and Pistoliers shall be scouting ahead of the formation, looking to get to grips with us as quickly as possible. We have a Foot Marcus Wolfheart, as well as the Black Lions. Honestly, an incredibly powerful unit. Very hard to make work, and I think that's why most people consider them to be a meme. If you can keep them firing, though, they are devastating. We then have a load of Shades on this flank and even more Knights. So the Empire player got a little bit wider, the Dark Elf player relatively wide, but a little bit more elite in the form of cavalry. So the battle is underway now. We get a lovely little few pop shots off at the Sorceress. We drive her away, and the Dark Elves have kind of pushed a little too aggressively, I think. Realising that we're completely formed on this left-hand side, they need to wait for the Empire allies to really whip around, because at the moment the Dread Spears are getting eviscerated. Look at this play by my ally. I love it. Ellyrium Reavers just mopping up Dread Spears. The Princes are leading the charge, and the front line, we are raining shots down on the Dark Elves who attempt to push in, proving once and for all who the better pointier is. It is, of course, the Wood Elf. Dryads do chase it away the enemy relatively successfully. Big Firestorm goes down. I was able to dodge it with my Eternal Guard, taking minimal casualties. And the Glade Guard are singing. Alongside the Lothran Seaguard and Sisters of Avalon, we're doing devastating work to the Dread Spears. Now, they're shielded cheap units, so it's not the end of the world, but it is really a rough start for our opponents here as they push forward, but not quite with the same synergy. And it looks like the Empire forces are a little bit behind. We do a nice little rotation here, pull back the Lothran Seaguard from my ally, move forward with the Eternal Guard. And I was really impressed with my allies' kind of ability to kind of read the situation and work with me, because we weren't in voice chat or anything. We were literally just 2 random dudes, and he was doing a good job. Reavers are using up some of their ammunition, though, on Dread Spears, which isn't, of course, the best use of their time. Black lines have opened up on the Illyrian Reavers and some massive damage, and it looks like we have an over push here from my ally. The Prince certainly finds himself in a tricky situation, completely surrounded by Empire Knights and Dread Spears. The Cold Ones are coming in as well to jump on top of the Major Fire, who's attempting to get nearby to cast some magical support. There are Reavers attempting to help out, and we are going to get a rather lovely Burning Head go down the line. Should be enough to hopefully wrestle away those Dread Spears, but I think the Empire Knights will be able to take it. Looks like my opponent's army, or my allies' army, is starting to crumble a little bit. Likewise, though, we're doing a good job. The Glade Guard are really raining down shots and focusing predominantly on the enemy cavalry. I want to take away their mobility, allowing the Glade Guard to really shine in the latter stages of the battle. Shade's doing a good job, though. They are peppering at the Eternal Guard from the flanks, and they continue to pursue a deadly flanking maneuver around this side. A big fat Burning Head does go down through my own lines. I was able to dodge the worst of the damage, luckily, and I kind of got off a little bit scot-free there, which is very lucky for me. Waystalker all day long has been popping shots. He's had the eyes for the Sorceress of Fire, and he's looking to drag her down, and he's doing some pretty decent damage there. With some nasty spells coming down this left-hand side, though. Look at the dead! Oh my god, I believe this was a firestorm. This is disgusting! Look at the dead cavalry of my ally. The Elves are in hot retreat. I do have some Glade Riders moving over with the Lurks Tricksters, attempting to pin the enemy cavalry in place. Things are starting to look a little bit rocky for us. We are doing decent damage with our Glade Guard. I think our opponents have reacted really well. They had a bit of a dodgy start with their armies being out of sync, which happens all the time in 2v2, and one pushing a little too aggressively, but the way they fought back is really impressive. Shade's doing some lovely isolation on my Glade Riders. I have Eternal Guard moving over just to try to be pesky and a pain, and those big spell plays have cracked the left side of our formation, and I'm trying to force in and pin in the gaps left by my now deceased ally. Lurks Tricksters have got down and dirty with the Cold One Knights. It's a perfect fight for us. Lurks Tricksters going to be getting some lovely damage value here. Unfortunately, we don't have anything to pin them in place, and they are going to be falling back in a rather swift retreat. Orion has gone full Leroy Jenkins style and charged headlong into the enemy on top of Malice Darkblade. Blood Price is popped. We also have Spearman nearby now. Orion is a one-man wrecking ball, but what is his main weakness? It's the fact he has basically zero armor, and look at the black lines shred Orion's HP. It is devastating. Luckily, though, with some air effect spells, we're able to break it up a little bit, and including sacrificing some Glade Riders into the maw, we may be able to pull back Orion, but he has taken devastating work. I do summon an early Great Eagle. Lovely pendulum comes in there by the Empire caster, taking out a lot of Glade Guard, which is really rough for me. The Eagle is just swooping after the mighty Malice Darkblade right now. I'm attempting to get him to pop into Zarkon mode, knowing that it'd be a ticking time bomb at that point, and it looks like he may well just be doing that. So he goes into Zarkon mode. This is fantastic news for us. There's a decent amount of the battle left, so if we can get him to pop that as early as possible, of course his HP will drop. The Glade Guard have rotated around. We're annihilating Dread Spears on the approach, and now trading cost effectively into Shades. This is not the type of engagement Shades want to take. We have seen them as well, because we have the Eternal Guard back here, making these units visible, allowing the Glade Guard to really lay it on thick, and the Glade Guard have been such a powerhouse in that middle firing position, constantly firing all day long. Now Orion barely gets away with his life. He is so low HP right now. We're going to Burning Head, although it kind of tried being a bit greedy and going through all three units rather than just eviscerating one unit. Still did some nice damage, but the fact Orion's alive is huge for us, because he is of course going to be regenerating, which we like quite a bit. The black lines are constantly on the prowl though, so I'm having to keep him well away from the enemy formations. We do get a Firestorm go down. I am swift though on it, luckily. Managed to spot that coming down. Keep pushing the Glade Guard forward and escaping these pesky spells. Zarkon is on approach now, but he is still pretty weak at this point. Looks like I'm launching some shots over at the enemy Sorceress. I definitely want to get my archers on top of the Outriders where possible. And it's a bit of an isolation just in the back here. A lot of idle units around. Of course, 2v2, it's a lot harder to micro everything. Luckily, our armies are pretty small at this point, so we can get relatively decent stuff. Malice Darkblade is going to be healing up a little bit here, and he's going to be coming in with the Reaper Souls. I'm just going to move all my Glade Guard out in different directions, and allow hopefully the Waystalker to come in here and do some decent damage. Spellslinger Beast is attempting to summon an Eagle. I am getting shoved around though. Unfortunately, that is going to cancel the spell, as well as, again, absolutely slapped by Marcus Wolfire. If you want a job done, leave it to a human rather than an elf to get it done. That's what Marcus is going to be yelling at Zarkon. Although Zarkon, he's half demon right now, so he doesn't really, have full control of what he's actually up to. Petter Shades goes down in the back, really trying to rinse the Loix Tricksters. They've been a big thorn in the side for our opponents who have so much cavalry in the battlefield. We should be able to drag down the Knights of Ebon Claw, though, and this unit of Empire Knights, hopefully, but that was devastating damage to the glorious Loix Tricksters, who are just so cool. The way they flip and twirl their blades, it is certainly some awesome stuff. I think they're up to decent value, most likely. 1,000 value, not bad considering they ate the Petter Shades to the face. The Glade Guard are once again focused down at the enemy cavalry where possible. We're starting to run a little low on ammunition. Orion's doing a decent job. He's healed up to where he can with the Cloak of Isha for now. They will pop again once he gets a little low HP. Unfortunately, Liam Reavers do get pinned in place by a Hunter's Snare. That is going to allow the Pistoliers to do decent damage to them. But we now have the Glade Guard on support, and I'm focus firing down these units where possible. An Eagle elegantly soars down from the clouds and is me moving forward, looking to come to grips with the enemy. I was tempted to go after Marcus Wolfheart, but I think I decided, you know what, these black lines are actually a giant problem right now for me, particularly because of the threat they pose to Orion, who's having to basically stay out of the fight for now. So in comes the Great Eagle, takes a load of damage on the approach. We will be able to clip the black lines and at least force them away. We're going to continue to pepper him down the enemy from long-range shots. Pistoliers have been forced back. I got a load of units who got nice and aggressive early on, coming back into the main fight. Looks like we had a Horn of the Wild Hunt go down, which is always good fun. Waystalker is back, out of ammunition, unfortunately, and it looks like my Spell Slinger is about spent at the moment. The Glade Guard, majority will I have less, realistically, apart from some drips and drabs of units. And we're now starting to get pushed by the enemy Spearmen. I'm doing some nice focus fire. My allies helping a lot. The Lothran Sea Guard launching shots into the flanks of the Spearmen is glorious work. And I can keep falling back and move up my allies Spearmen, hopefully. And of course, Orion is a last bastion of strength. On the right-hand side, there is still some shades, but they are dwindling on ammunition and HP, as well as probably hope at this point. And I'm certainly all for that. Balance power is very even, though, mainly due to the fact we just have nothing left. I'm so spent ammo-wise. Glade Guard are going to kite backwards against the Empire Spearmen. I don't really want to waste myself upon them just yet. Orion will be moving over with his air effect spells to attempt to bring them to justice. We do have the Waystalker going hand-to-hand with Marcus Wolfheart. I didn't really think I could win this fight, but any damage done to the enemy general is okay in my book, and it's a pretty awesome fight. The Waystalkers have some really, really cool attack animations. It's kind of a little bit sad they're not, you know, the best melee combatants in the world, but they look really cool the way they fight. Marcus Wolfheart going for a bit of a brawler approach, throwing in those mad fists and punch to the face with his kicks. Looks like he does net the Waystalker with the Hunter Snare. The Waystalker is like, get back here, you cowardly manlin. But it looks like Marcus also popped that to pin the Sister Avalon and Palais, who have used up all their ammunition, so I'm expecting some good value from them at the end of the day. And a little cheeky net and arrow to the face is going to be enough to force back the Waystalker and most likely shatter him. He's down to basically no HP. Orion is desperately fighting a load of Spearmen. He's going to be calling in some of his air effect spells just to try to rid the world of these pesky manlins. The Hounds are going to be birthed once more to ride alongside Orion, and they do some really good work here. That should be enough, hopefully, to break up the Spearmen, though they are triple gold chevron, so they're a little bit more hardy than your average warrior. Shades are pushing forward nice and aggressively. Sorceress of Fire is currently vibing, probably trying to save up money. Dryads will be hunting down the Grey Wizard and other high-value targets. Very stretched game so far. Glade Guard alongside Spearmen have surrounded Marcus Wolfheart, and I love 2v2s because look how scattered it is at the end. There's action going on everywhere. It's really tough on your micro compared to 1v1s, I personally think, unless you go for a very defensive build, which a lot of players do in 2v2s, but you know, I think it's definitely nice to bring some to the channel, and I certainly enjoyed playing a couple up against these boys. Grey Wizard's being forced off by the Dryads. They're just on the prowl. He must be terrified right now. I didn't sign up for this. I signed up to bring the greatness of the Empire to the light, not to have to fight angry tree ladies. The Black Lions are taking significant poke damage now from the Glade Guard. I'm so low on ammunition. Luckily, there's Lothran the Sea Guard for support, and we have the beast Orion himself, who's once again taking a load of pounding from the Black Lions. I'm trying to kite back and forth, juke, dodge, and do the 5Ds of dodgeball, but it's getting a little bit rough. We're very low HP. Luckily, the Cloak of Isha is keeping us in the game there. Marcus Wolfheart's getting forced off in the back. We do have the Horn of the Wild Hunt, which does actually affect friendly troops, which is good to know. You guys out there looking to hop in some 2v2s yourselves. The Black Lions have gone down, though. We had just about enough ammo left in the tank. Literally, the last volley from us was able to shatter them, and it was a glorious victory for the alliance of Skem 8 and the Blind Bandit, who is, of course, me. Really good fun game, well played to Amiga Drive, as well as the mighty Geese Howard himself. Really awesome guys. Played with them a long time ago now, actually. I haven't played much Warhammer 2 in a while. I think they've been playing quite a few 2v2s, and we had another awesome game, which I may well cast on the channel if you'd like to see that game. It's a lot less competitive, but got a lot of fun units and stuff. Let me know in the comments down below. Well played though all round. This really was a tale of the Glade Guard. The Glade Guard absolutely carried. I mean, they were incredible. 1,000 damage value, 1,000 damage value, 1,300 damage value, 1,400 damage value, and 1,900. All of them paying for themselves. They're just so good. But I think even more so in 2v2s, where it's harder sometimes to get into an opponent's back line, particularly with the way we set up. Lots of Lothran and Sea Guard. Sister Avalon did really good, but I mean, the Sister Avalon are so much more expensive than the Glade Guard, and they didn't really get any more value than them. Nice cavalry contingent by my ally as well. Unfortunately, the Flamestorms kind of caught him off guard a bit, and he lost the majority of his army, so it did really come down to the Glade Guard carrying the day for the most part, and of course, Orion surviving was always quite useful. Love the meme, though, from Amiga Drive here, coming with Malice Darkblade. He can be pretty good, but most people consider him still a meme. In certain situations, he can actually, I think, be okay. The Shades were a nice touch as well, going for that flanking maneuver, and the Carry did a decent job until, alas, they were just shut down. Marcus Wolfhart, 2,000 value, but more importantly, the Black Lions, 2,867 damage value. Mwah, chef's kiss there to Geese Howard and his glorious Black Lions play. Well, guys, that's going to be it for this one. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a big, fat, juicy thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Both those things help grow the channel massively, and I'm really looking forward to more Empire, so there's loads of exciting stuff to come, and yeah, feel free to tag along for the ride. But you can also leave a comment down below, just to let me know what you thought of the game, if you enjoyed it, what you'd like to see in the future, or leave a funny comment and all that good stuff. Load of links down below as well, Twitch where I do occasional extra streams, Discord where you can submit replays, get involved in live streams and events. There may well be a tournament, oh, it's going to be tough to fill on, but probably Thursday. I've been very busy recently, and I haven't been able to do many live streams, alas. But maybe I'll be able to fit in a tournament live stream tomorrow or something along those lines. I was thinking, oh my god, 3,000 value for the Grey Wizards, crazy. I was thinking along the lines of a Total War Warhammer 2 one-build Battle Royale tournament and that kind of stuff. There's also links down below to Patreon, where you can support the channel financially. Massive shout out to my patrons, as well as the glorious members here on YouTube who support me. To find out more, you can follow the link down below, or you can click the membership button under the video. They're honestly the basic reason I'm allowed to do so many of these videos and put out consistent content, because, yeah, they're the ones who help support. So until next time, guys, peace, peace, and as always, stay awesome.